Boy, you didn't waste any time coming in. Good to see you, sir. We are just going to hang out here.
Yeah.
There's Jonathan. Ken's already in the chat. Hi, everyone.
Looks like we have like 92 people already in the chat.
Amazing. Oh, my gosh. So we are going to sit tight here until 1 o'clock. So you get to hear us. We'll hang out here all together for 5 minutes. And I will get my slide deck going here.
Peanut butter and jelly, Ken says.
I love it. All right. How's that look? Can everyone see that?
Looks good. Looks good.
All right. Organize my monitor. Got my ring light set up here and everything. We're all set for you guys. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Come on in. Lots of folks coming in. Put in the chat where you're from.
It does look like it's
recording. Southern California, Tennessee, Jacksonville. Nice. That's where my parents. North Carolina, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. So many folks. Oh, wow. So glad to have you all join our session. Just for, again, we're going to wait until 1 o'clock to kick it off, but we're just kind of chit-chatting now. And Jonathan and I do kind of a similar, would you say, we're generally tips for sellers, I would say, is the topic we usually get asked to cover. Jonathan and I are both subject matter experts on eBay, and we're advocates for sellers here at eBay. And we're both sellers. We love to talk with other sellers about the platform.
I'm gonna say some of the stuff we're showing you might have saw in the keynote, but we should have a little extra time to go deeper onto things and answer questions about them. So
yeah. Shout out Kings of eBay. Thanks for joining.
Tara. Sorry, it's intimidating. I'm curious, like, what are the couple of the most intimidating things you're finding out?
Again, I'm Chuck. This is Jonathan here with me. We're just, as folks roll in, let us know where you're from, and we're going to just be in a holding pattern here for a few more minutes, wait until 1 o'clock, and we will kick off our presentation. So those of you who have come into our breakouts in the past, one of the pieces of feedback we received was that there's not enough time for Q&A, and I agree, because I really love talking to all of you and answering your questions. So this time we're keeping the slide deck super short. It's like 4 slides. We're just going to review some of the things that some of our product managers talked about today, and some other areas we think are really important for sellers. And then we're going to let you guys kind of run the show and give us your questions, and we'll do our best to answer. We are probably not the best place to bring like questions that are specific to your account, because we won't be able to really talk much about that. You certainly put any question you want in the chat, but general questions about selling, we love those, so we can sort of answer those on the spot for you. All right, how are we doing on time? Good.
Yeah, and just while we're waiting to start, I'll say, if you ever do have feedback or you run into a problem on the site, there should be a little round button on the bottom right corner with a question mark. Just click that and send a bug report or send feedback. We have teams monitoring those all the time, looking for issues. And also in the apps, there's some dots up in the right corner. Tap those, send us feedback, or shake your app. That is the best way to get us, if something's going on, not with your account, but like with the experience itself. So just always use those mechanisms to send us that feedback.
Jonathan is probably the single biggest consumer of that information that you all type into those forums at eBay. So I'm sure if you said hi, Jonathan, in there, he would probably see it.
Yeah, but if I don't see it, then don't be upset. But,
we'll just search on it. All right. Once again, we're just waiting for the 1 o'clock hour, which is we're just about a minute or so away from that, for everyone to come on in. Got lots of people in here. So great. So happy that you all have chosen to join this session today. Just going to give it a little bit more time. Again, for those just joining, we're trying to allow as much time as we can today for questions and answers from you. So we'll be monitoring the chat. You can put your questions in there. We're keeping the slide deck short today so that there's plenty of time for us to chat with all of you.
Yeah.
And we love all your questions.
And they are flying by fast. And I know some people put them in the main chat, so put them in the Q&A as well. It's a little bit more organized, so we can try to scroll through there and answer them real time.
Oh yeah, the Q&A might help. If you want to take the time to articulate your questions, just throw them in the Q&A. And that'll help us sort them out from the other chats.
Jason, I'm not sure if there's a specific breakout about Facebook Marketplace. So sorry, I can't help you on that one. All right, it is one. Maybe we should wait for one more minute after one. Oh, now it is.
We good? Should we go ahead and kick it off?
I think so.
All right. Cool. So once again, for those just joining, my name is Chuck Van Pelt, and I am a seller advocate at eBay along with my colleague, Jonathan.
Yep, Jonathan Chard, also a seller advocate with Chuck.
And so I'm going to just show you the agenda here today. Again, really short, 4 slides. This is our presentation. We call it Tools and Tips for Seller Success. We're going to cover a lot of topics here and invite you to, really nothing's off the table. We want to talk about anything about being a seller on eBay, particularly in this kind of space that I think most of you are in. You might be a new seller or a more tenured seller, but sellers kind of in this, growing size. We think you'll probably get the most out of this format. So the role that we have at eBay, we call it a seller advocate, and I think it's the easiest way I can sum up what I do at eBay. We work on the product marketing insights team, so basically we gather insights from sellers. Our role is basically to connect with all of you and gather feedback. We want to understand your workflows, how you do things, what you like, what you don't like, and we package all those insights up, get them to our product and marketing partners here in the company. And the idea is that we give you kind of a virtual seat at the table with those people who can affect change on the platform. So in addition to working for eBay, Jonathan and I are sellers on the platform. I've been selling for a long time, since the late 90s. I sell mostly kind of hard goods. I don't do the clothing category so much, but I do more electronics and vintage and a lot of cameras lately. Now, my favorite part about these seller check-ins is that I get to directly engage with all of you. It's my favorite thing. And now I know you just heard from a lot of our leaders and other folks in the company about some of the amazing things eBay has rolled out recently and some things we're planning for the future. Jonathan and I are just going to do a really brief walkthrough of a few of these updates just to kind of get them fresh in your mind so that you can ask good questions. And like I mentioned at the top of the call, the goal here is really to allow as much time as we can for Q&A. So I'm gonna dive right into it. So first off, we have a little bit of detail on our listing Q&A, which is a new feature that's come out. On my own eBay account, I often find myself answering the same questions over and over for buyers. This is especially amplified on multi-quantity items where I have a lot of the same thing and people ask the same questions over and over. And this new feature has really helped me get ahead of the questions my buyers might ask about my items. And this is a screenshot here showing how it looks on the mobile environment. Basically, you can add your own questions and answers to the listings, build your own FAQ. And You can add Q&A on individual listings. It's super easy to manage on the mobile app. You just tap in and type in the information you want. I like this feature because it gives me another way to highlight important item details like size and measurements and material and all of these things. I'll take it head on here. I know that we get a lot of feedback about where our descriptions show up in the site, and I hear you on that for sure. That is an area that I take very seriously, but I will say that this listing Q&A is another way that you can get that information out there, details about your item. Now you can also manage Q&A across all of your listings from the website. So if you do most of your store maintenance and your account maintenance on the web, you can do that by going to account settings and to manage communication with buyers. So account settings, then manage communication with buyers. This can be really helpful answering questions like globally, so you can kind of build trust. For example, you can provide details on how carefully you pack and ship items. You might give some detail. Every time I ship a camera, it gets wrapped in 2 layers of bubble wrap. I double box everything. These are the kind of things you could add in your Q&A just to kind of give a little bit more trust to your buyers. So I definitely encourage you to give it a try. All right, so now I'm going to hand it over to Jonathan for a word about business policies. Oh, I think you're muted, sir. There you go.
All right, thanks a lot. Yeah, business policies. If you don't use them, I feel like it's something you should definitely try to use. They can save time on updating and editing your listings if you need to change something, like with your payment, your handling time, your shipping methods. And one thing good, we actually recently updated the business policies page. So if you visited it before, it kind of looked like maybe we hadn't touched it since 1998, but it is now up into like the standard of 2025. It kind of mimics the look of our listing flow. So it should be like the shipping section should be familiar from what you see when you're selling an item and how to set up the business policy. I have seen a lot of people in the chat say they're kind of confusing to set up, which that's good to know. I think we have some opportunity to maybe make a tutorial to kind of help you through the parts that do get kind of tricky, because when you first go in, it might build like a really long list of policies, and it's kind of looks scary at first sight. But once you actually spend the time and get them done, it is a game changer on time saving. That's all I really have for business policies, and back to Chuck.
All right, thank you, sir. So this is one of my favorite new tools for sellers, and it seems so simple, but it's something we're calling a buyer details screen, or modal, I've heard it called. It's basically a little dialogue that pops up when you're on your order management screen, and it gives you some extra information about your relationship with any particular buyer when you click on their name. You do this from the order management screen. If you click on the name of the buyer, this will pop up, and it looks just like it does here. I have an example from my own account. Now there are icons that show whether you are the whether you or the buyer have left feedback on the transaction. So within the order management screen, we're starting to add more visual indicators of the steps and the milestones that have passed on your journey selling that item to that buyer. So we have icons that show the feedback, even whether the item was sold through eBay International Shipping, which we'll talk about in a little bit. You can also quickly see whether the buyer has ever purchased something from you before. The real star here, though, is this modal that pops up. It pops up on the screen when you click the name. It gives you access to past orders with that buyer, so you can see how much you've transacted with that particular buyer. I really like this because I like to pay special attention to buyers that are repeat buyers and have come back and bought things from me. I just give them extra care, or maybe do something extra for them. And I can't do that unless I know that they are a repeat buyer. And the total sales count also shows up for that buyer, so you can see what kind of revenue you've generated from them, their impact on your bottom line. you can quickly message that buyer from this modal, and you can send targeted coupons right from the screen too, which is really useful if you have a buyer who buys from you in a particular category, sports cards, sneakers, cameras, whatever, and you want to target those really heavy buying customers, you can do that right from the screen.
Yeah, and Elizabeth in the chat actually had a question. She hasn't figured out how, for her business, how does individual buyer details, how are they useful? But I think you did a great job of talking about. You can send coupons, you can see how much they've been spending, you can reward them for being a repeat customer. So that's why this is a useful view.
Yeah, that is a great question. I think of it like I don't want to have this anonymity between myself and my buyers. I ideally would like to have a little bit of a relationship forming, particularly with those buyers that are giving me the most purchases, the most revenue. It just helps me give them the next level of service to keep them coming back as customers. And that's, for me, why I value this modal so much. The more you know about your buyers, the better decisions you'll make when interacting with them, and the happier they'll be. That's basically the way I look at it. So I'm going to hand it back over to Jonathan now for an update on how you can differentiate eBay international shipping orders on the order screen. Jonathan?
Yeah. If you might have seen this now on your order screen when you get an eBay international shipping customer, which I'm sure you all are getting them because everyone uses eBay international shipping, right? Because it is the greatest. Which I'll explain some more of the benefits of it, but we'll have this little globe icon that you'll see sort of on the left, maybe around the item image. And when you see that globe, it means it was an eBay international shipping order. You can click on it and it will have some information about the product or the product. You know, I expect us to expand those eventually to note whatever other kind of buyer you have, you know. So
yeah, that little globe is kind of, you can barely see it in the gray part of the image on the left above the little 3 dots. It's kind of small, but when you're scrolling down the orders page, it's really easy to pick out, and you'll know that, okay, these are EIS orders.
Yeah. And I was, you know, partially joking earlier about saying how great it was, but I do hear a lot of sellers, they've maybe used our old platform in the past. They're kind of nervous about trying the new one. I say give it a try. You just ship it to the US hub. We take care of the custom forms. Once your package makes it to the hub and gets sent out, you're covered. Like eBay will take care of the post-transaction communications with buyers. If they want to return, eBay is going to handle that. And you kind of like, once it gets to the hub, you can be like, my job is done. And you get to like, not have to like have this looming thought in the back of your head. Like, is this person going to have some trouble with this once they finally get it? So yeah, I would say, try the eBay international shipping. And back to Chuck.
Yeah. I saw a question about the buyer dialogue, the buyer screen that pops up, and where to get to that. I don't have a screenshot to show you right now, but it is on the order management screen. So when you're looking at all your orders, it right where the buyer's name is in the order on that row, just click on their name, the underlying username, and it will pop up. It's super easy to find. Good question. All right, so that's a quick recap. I said it would be quick. I think it was pretty quick. These are some of the features we learned about and some things that are important to us. Like I really am a huge proponent of EIS. I think it's pretty valuable feature we have. Jonathan and I would now love to take your questions on these and really any seller related topics. We'll just open it up here. I can't promise we'll have the answers for all your questions today, especially if they're really specific to your account. But just really think about, I'm curious how this works, or what can I do to get this result? These are the kinds of questions that I think we'll be able to do the best to answer for you today. And I'm going to stop sharing this. So you can
here's one that Christy popped in, which I saw other people talking about it. Loves international shipping. Sells a lot of dolls and toys, but sometimes they get excluded from international shipping and they're not sure why. Which I can, that's a part of the international shipping program. We're handling a bunch of the legalities of if things can be shipped to certain countries. And there's there's a list of reasons why certain items can't, and it's not really disclosed to the seller or the page. So you just have to kind of, I guess I'm going to say, trust us that we're saving you the effort by blocking certain countries from your listings. And we're also working all the time on trying to expand it so that less items are getting blocked.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very much regulatory, and eBay's trying to intercede where it would have maybe in the past caused a problem for you because you can't ship this type of item to the UK or whatever, and eBay's trying to get ahead of that. And I realize it sometimes feels a little bit like a black box, like you don't know why it's happening, but that is why it's happening, and we are trying to do a better job of communicating that.
Yeah,
great question.
I hear it a lot with P&A. You know, it could be just because the part it's an area that has a lot of grease, and you can't ship the grease to Greece or wherever.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see. I realize this is the newest question, but I'm going to answer it. And Jonathan, maybe you can kind of scan for the next one. This is about, this is a seller, Trish, who sells ephemera and uses eBay standard envelope, which I love absolutely. And she's expressing challenges she's having with the tracking and the packages kind of going into limbo on EIS. And all I can do for you really is acknowledge that, yes, we're aware that this is an issue. And we are definitely working with the USPS to make sure that shipping method is as effective as it can be, and to expand it as much as we can to support things that will actually fit into that format. So I don't have an answer other than that we're working on that and we're aware of the problem. So great question though. And if anyone hasn't checked out eBay standard envelope and you're shipping anything like sports trading cards, game cards, Pokemons, stamps, postcards, all of that stuff, check out eBay standard envelope.
Yeah,
for sure.
Here's another EIS related one. Debbie asks, do we have any tips to how to fill out all the information that's required on an international sale, manufacturer address, materials of items, etc.? If you use eBay International Shipping, you don't have to fill out any customs forms. You just ship the item to our US location and they will take care of that.
There's a question here from Barbara about international shipping program. Do they open, sorry, it just bounced out of my field of view. Does international shipping program open in hand and repackage the items I ship? That is a great question. My understanding is they validate that the item is what it's said to be, and they do basic checks that it's not anything that can't be shipped to that country. But I am going to find out more about this because I'm curious myself about how much intermediation we do on these packages when they arrive. I mean, my understanding is that, they're validating the item is what we said it was. As described, it's not been broken in shipping, and then that it's in appropriate enough shipping materials that it would make it to its final destination. But I'm going to look into that for you.
Imagine we do maybe some x-raying of the package. I assume so much goes through there, it can't all be hand checked. So
yeah.
But, Joan asks, is the buyer information only if you have a store? No, you can still get the buyer information, but you have to be using Seller Hub to get to it. You won't have the option to send a coupon if you don't have a store, but you should be able to see their past purchases and all that without a store.
All right. So there's so many questions here, guys. I'm just kind of trying to pick one out with my eyes. So I apologize if I'm skimming over a bunch. I'm going to try to go up and down the list. I do see Catherine asked me a question about what challenges do I find selling on eBay this year over 5 years ago. Are you having any pain points? I feel over 5 years ago that eBay has introduced changes to make it easier for me to run my business more efficiently. Obviously, I'm a full-time employee for eBay, and that uses up a lot of my hours. So my constraints around how much I could sell used to be around how much I could source, and then limitations around the listing flow. and how much I could list. And it's not that anymore. It's literally my time. Like I have enough stuff. I just need, I'm fully maximized. And as far as the free time I have, I'm able to list a lot more than I used to. So I know that sounds like a really rah-rah eBay thing to say, but let me take my eBay employee hat off and put on my eBay businessman hat. I'm running an eBay business that I run as profitably as I can, and it has been doing well. I would say my advice would be take advantage of the newer tools that eBay has rolled out for things like bulk listing, and don't sweat the details so much. Things like item specifics. You get the required ones in there, you're probably good. That would be my advice. Good question.
All right, we're gonna go to Fern, who's noticed that the active listing screen, we've kind of tweaked the search and it doesn't work as well as they used to search. They want to be able to search custom SKU. Yeah, we were actually just talking about that yesterday. We're seeing some feedback around that. So we're working with the product team to see, hey, how can we make that search a little bit more robust for you? And if you want to know who to reach out to, when you're on that screen, Fern, there should be a tell us what you think button at the top, or that question mark. Click either of those, send the feedback, say how it is, and we will, like, the product team will see that, and your voice will be added to the other voices.
I see Ahmed has a question here that David Bernstein from eBay has actually answered already, but I think it's a great question about how can I schedule my messages to buyers to make sure I'm sending them at the most appropriate time. Great idea. That is a fantastic idea. In fact, I've been working very closely with our member-to-member messaging team, and I will bring that up to them. It's a great idea.
All right.
What else?
There was one that felt like it answered. I don't know a lot about. Okay. Tanya asks, explain the per-click promotion versus general. So per click, your item's listed. If someone clicks on it and looks at it, you're going to get charged a fee. General, if someone clicked on your ad, bought the item, then you will pay the percentage that you set. So the general doesn't charge you until they purchase the item. The click will charge you when they click on the item. I hope that is clear. And so, like an example, if you have like a multi-quantity listing, I think that's a great thing to add per click, because it will, you'll get more clicks. It could drive you up in the search results, and it'll be hopefully moving it quicker. Scrolling through,
trying to find one. Here's one that I'm going to try to keep it from bouncing away.
Yeah.
It's from Fern. The question is, and I love this question so much, I would love to see eBay fix the active listing search.
I just did that one.
Oh, you did that one?
I literally just did that one.
While I was looking good. That's a good one. Yeah, definitely a topic that we're thinking about a lot. That's why I probably also gravitated to it.
Yeah, we literally talked about it yesterday, which is pretty funny.
We did.
Are the photo background tools only available in the app? I think, yeah, right now to swap the background, that's only in the app. You can always do the background remover on desktop. I'm not sure of our plans, but I will definitely pass the feedback that people want to be doing it on the desktop, because I know not everyone is using the app, especially to list. So thanks, Lynn.
There's a question here. Did you answer this question from Jonathan about when a buyer sends an offer, it automatically processes payment, but becomes troublesome when you accept multiple orders from the same buyer, and then they tell me they aren't able to combine shipping at checkout? You didn't answer that one.
No, I didn't answer that one.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. We're really working to cover all the edge cases around allowing buyers to put multiple items from the same seller in their cart, to pay for them at one time, and to get the benefits of combined shipping. So I see what your problem is you're describing here. I'm going to bring it up with the team. I know this is an area that is really a challenge for us, because we're balancing the need to on one hand, sellers are like, don't let buyers commit one of my items and not pay for it, right? I myself think that's, you know, I don't like that either. But then on the other hand, sellers also want buyers to be able to buy as many of their things as they want and get the benefits of like combined shipping and a single payment. So we're really walking a tightrope there and trying to find the right answer for all of those situations. So thanks, Jonathan, for your question. I will pass your feedback along.
I'm scrolling through this list. Can't tell how they're organized.
Yeah, just start at the top. If you paste your question in again, feel free to do that. If because the list is so long now. I'm so pleased to see so many questions that you guys have. And again, I want to apologize if we accidentally skip over any.
Tina, there's another offer question. Tina asks, she accepts a counter offer, and now the buyer never pays. Why are they not locked in? That was a change we made recently, because in the past, you would send the counter offer, they would accept it and then not pay. And then once that happens, then you're in this limbo of, I have to relist my item, cancel the transaction. So now it kind of goes into this holding state called a pending offer, which also any other buyer could swoop in and pick it up before they pay for it. So we did it to like limit the unpaid items and the hassle of having to like relist a unpaid offer. So that's why they're not locked in on a counter offer.
See another question from Fern about QR codes and how does eBay have a link to make a QR code that I can use for outside marketing? That's a great question. We don't have a link to do that, but I don't know if you're aware, creating a QR code is pretty easy actually. If you Google make a QR code or something like that, there's a million sites out there that will let you literally paste in a URL and it will generate a QR code, let you download a PDF of it or whatever kind of artwork you want to put on your business cards or whatever. And some of them even let you make the QR code like kind of creative, like put an image in it or whatever. So I would recommend checking that out. QR codes are definitely something I use with my own business to get people quickly to my site. It's a good idea. Let's see what else we have here. How do I add existing listings to my business policies? Did you answer that one, Jonathan?
No.
So when you go to list something, once you have business policies enabled, then you go into the listing flow. So whether you're on the mobile app, or whether you're on the website, once you get to the shipping section, you'll be able to choose from the list of shipping policies that you've created. So you just make your choice there. You can also pick a payment policy and a return policy, but most people have one return policy and one payment policy, and they just leave those locked into what they have for everything. Good question. And I don't know if I answered that question, if I understood it correctly, but
there's one, I don't think you did it, but I'm not sure the answer either. But someone, Ahmed, wants to exclude specific regions of Canada, such as the northern section or other areas. But he's tried to use custom rate tables. They don't seem to work for excluding locations, and the exclude location setting only applies to countries. Are there any other solutions or settings to achieve this? I'm not sure myself, but if anyone on the chat has done that, maybe post the solution, unless you know the answer.
I don't know.
A regional block.
No. Sometimes we both get stumped. I see a question here from Tia B about a feature that Pirate Ship has where she can generate all throughout the day. She can do her shipping and build a scan sheet all throughout the day, sort of virtually in the background. And then when she's done, she can just print out that one scan sheet. And that eBay is a little bit more, you have to print the scan sheet kind of as you go along. I think if I'm reading that correctly, which I believe that is the case. That is absolutely great feedback. And I'm going to pass that along to the shipping team. More flexibility around scan sheets. I like this question because we were just talking a lot, Jonathan and I, with some of our colleagues about the perceptions that our sellers have about needing to stand in line at the post office or needing to get that carrier acceptance scan and when to get that and how important that is. And I know a lot of you swear by, making sure you get that, because then it shows up to your buyers that you've met that milestone. And I think that's really important. So I will pass that along.
I don't know. Is this a half-hour event or an hour? Because we're at the half hour. But I was going to read one more question. Unless we have an hour, then it'll be more. But Laura Lynch asks, how obvious to buyers is it when you've accepted their offer and now is the time to pay? Yeah, buyers should be getting an email. There should be a notification showing up in the, in the app, on the website under the bell, and the app under the bell, and even on the home screen of the app and website, it should say like pay for this item. So it should be pretty much in their face.
Yeah, I don't know the end time either, Jonathan. I'm going to just keep going and ask for forgiveness. Maybe somebody, I don't know if anyone's listening in from eBay and they can, maybe you can go over and ask the folks, Jonathan. Let's see here. Any word about expanding multi-user access accounts? Currently, it is very frustrating to sell on eBay. Only one person has access to the relevant data needed to sell. Interesting. This is from Niall. Question about our multi-user access accounts, which is a way for you as a seller to give some rights to your account to other users so that they can work for you and do work without having access to the full account. I'd be interested to know more about that, about what features and roles that you're trying to give rights to. You know what? Just my email is not a secret. cvanpelt@ebay.com. Just send me an email, and I'd like to hear more detail on that. All right.
Our time is at 30 minutes. I see there's a lot of shipping questions in here, and someone, shoot, I just lost their name, but Gail wants to. No, not Gail. Well, anyways, they asked if we could have a shipping specific breakout session next time. So we will talk to the shipping team and see how we can have that, because I do see tons of shipping questions.
All right. So Tracy, are you telling me we need to wrap it up? Are we getting the play them off keyboard cat?
Let's give this is a good one for maybe someone. They're new. Tracy is new. We have some, I think you have some advice for this. What is the recommended list as an auction or list as an item at set price to get their items out there? Boom.
That is the question. So Jonathan's throwing this to me because he knows that it's a spicy one for me. I have a strong opinion. Auction versus buy it now. So I don't think either one is right or wrong. I think that the use cases for auction are much smaller than I think most people think. I have currently 3,500 some odd listings up. None of them are auctions. I would only do an auction on eBay if I was selling an item that was for which there was not already an established market and price, which, if you think about it, is not very many items. Even antiques are often have 10 or 20 or 100 available on eBay and many sold. And so the price is very well established. If the price is established, then there's not really much point in putting an auction on. You just put it on because now you've closed your window of opportunity for attracting buyers down to just the 10 days. Whereas if you put it on buy it now you've got this recurring thing. My advice is buy it now on most items. If it's sitting too long, month, 2 months, 3 months, you're not getting any action, throw that best offer on there. Now it's kind of like an auction, or at least it's a haggle where you're getting some input about your price and you're working your way towards an agreement finally with some buyer. I'm not saying don't use auctions, just use them. If I found a one of a kind or a rare item that maybe I had the only one on eBay that was in the best condition, and I knew there was a huge audience for it, especially if I had a social media footprint where I was able to promote to collectors of that item that it was available. Now an auction makes sense, right? Because now you're getting, all you need is 2 people who really want it to build the price up. But otherwise, buy it now for everyday items is my my go-to.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that time went very fast. I feel like there's like tons of questions we didn't
I
get
know.
to, but yeah. Send us the questions and feedback through those methods I mentioned. You know, the question mark at the bottom right, the 3 dots on the top right. Send feedback, send us bugs. We're waiting.
Yeah, I think we need to probably wrap this up, but
Yeah.
I will let you all know if any of you are going to the Boss Reseller Remix in Las Vegas next week. Jonathan and I will both be there. Love to take your questions in person if you come up to us at the eBay booth.
Valerie's threatening with a full 8-hour session of us just answering questions. Maybe we'll do a marathon one day where it's just.
I'll do it. I would love it. 100%.
Drinking Red Bull and just answering questions.
Yeah. Thank you all so much. And best of luck to all of you with your eBay businesses. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
All right.